Hello everybody, how are you tonight? Welcome to our Toefl Ibt International Certification classes. My name is Rodrigo and I'm officially a Cambridge examiner for the speaking part of the test. And this is Pandora. Say hi Pandora. Hi guys. Hello. So she usually follows our classes, alright? And the topic of the day is very impressive and it's paramount if you want to succeed at TOEFL test. It's called independent essay. Okay? So basically at TOEFL test we've got two types of essay. The first one I've already recorded a video about it, which is the integrated essay. And in that case you need to listen to a piece of audio and compare the audio with a piece of reading, and you have 20 minutes to accomplish that task. But this time you have half an hour for your independent essay. Basically, there will be a topic and you have to talk about that in 4 paragraphs. Obviously that isn't a must. You could have chosen to write in 5 different paragraphs, but that would be a little bit harder. So what I'm going to ask you tonight is to trust me, because I've prepared a template. It's like a pre-prepared TOEFL template in which the only thing you have to do is to fill up the gaps. So I'm going to give you the conjunctions, I'm going to give you the whole structure. So trust me on that one, alright? And you're going to succeed, I'm pretty sure of that. So let's talk about independent essay. And the first thing you need to write in your first paragraph is a hook. So, Pandora, what's a hook? I don't know, Daddy. So, basically, a hook is a fact. It's something that can be said and it can be believed everywhere in the world. So, if you make a statement and the Americans believe that, French people believe that, Brazilians believe that, Chinese believe that, we get our hook. So, in other words, it's not an opinion, it's a fact, alright? So this is an interesting sentence that describes the topic of the essay, but without stating your main point, okay? I'm going to give you 3 examples of facts, but before doing that, let's pick a theme, let's pick a topic. So the topic I've picked for you is self-medication. So what do you think, guys? Is it a good thing to self-medicate? Or do you think that could be dangerous? So we don't know about that, right? But there are things that we do know, and those will be our hooks. So hook number 1. Self-medication is usually not a safe practice, and it can cause more harm than good to one's health. So anywhere in the world that if I tell people that it's not safe to self-medicate and it can cause, it's possible to cause more harm than good, people say, yes, I agree with you. Why? Because you don't know what else people are taking. You know the side effects involved, alright? That's why this is a great hook. Let's move to the next hook. Drugs have several side effects. Drug overdose may be fatal due to toxicity. So again, everybody in the world will agree with me that drugs have side effects. So if I go to Australia, if I go to Canada, if I go to Egypt, people agree with me that drug overdose may be fatal due to toxicity, alright? So if your body gets the toxicity, you might die. So that's a great hook, you don't need to prove that. And the third and last hook is, many respondents around the world reported side effects or complications during the due course of self-medication. So again, there are many people around the world who took a medication and they've suffered from side effects. They've had complications, alright? Just because they didn't see a doctor before taking the medication. So again, that's a perfect hook for your essay, alright? Excellent. So, in the same paragraph, we need a second thing. Now, we need our thesis. And what's that? So basically, the thesis is your opinion. It's what needs proof. So your thesis is basically your opinion about the topic, and that must be proved throughout the essay. So you have to use great arguments, solid arguments to prove what you're trying to say, alright? In order to start your thesis, you need a conjunction or a discourse marker. I prepared a video for you only about discourse markers, so I teach you all the conjunctions that could be used to link your sentence and make your text more cohesive. But for this example, I've picked thus. So when I want to add a piece of information, I say thus, due to harmful and poisonous nature of a drug, it should not be taken without proper medical advice. So that's my conclusion. So I've added my conclusion, and that's my opinion. So due to harmful and poisonous nature of a drug, it should not be taken without proper medical advice. And in this case, I have to use great argumentation to prove that I'm right. Okay? So let me show you some other theses, other possible theses. So I can say, in my opinion, many people who are living from more serious health conditions, particularly mental health conditions, turn to self-medication as an alternative to seeking appropriate care. Again, this is my opinion. I'm going to need to prove that particularly mental health conditions can cause more side effects, okay? And my last thesis of the day is, as far as I'm concerned, understanding the reasons why someone might self-medicate and the risks associated with self-medication can help ensure that you or your loved ones are receiving the appropriate medical care and preventing potentially dangerous outcomes. In this case, I've chosen to use more sophisticated words. So when I tell you, as far as I'm concerned, basically what I'm saying is, in my opinion, but it's fancy, it's more sophisticated. I'm trying to score higher marks, trying. And if I end my paragraph with outcome, that's replacing the word results. So here I'm using a synonym for results, which is outcomes. And again, I'm expecting higher marks just by using different vocabulary. So a wide range of vocabulary, alright? That's how I say in English. Let's continue. Right, still in the same first paragraph, we are still talking about the first paragraph. Now, it's time to give 2 reasons why you feel this way. In other words, you need 2 arguments which will be developed in paragraphs number 2 and 3. Again, this is not the only way of writing an essay, but this is one perfect way of doing that. Okay, it's not the only one, but it's a perfect way of doing that. So, in this case, you can use a transitional sentence. For example, I feel this way for 2 reasons. First, and then your first reason, and second, your second reason. Now, you must bear in mind that sometimes your arguments then can be both positive, so you have 2 positive arguments. They can be both negatives, so you have 2 negatives arguments. And then you can have one positive and another negative one. And it will always tend to leave the negative one, the last one, because it's stronger when you're defending your point of view, okay? Just to show you how that works, what I prepared for you today was exactly that, having 2 different arguments, a positive and a negative. So my first argument, first, self-medication of minor injuries and minor illnesses helps reduce the overall burden of the healthcare system, and it's a common practice in the United States. So in this case, I'm defending self-medication. I'm saying good and positive things about that. So I'm going to use the whole second paragraph to defend that self-medication is a good thing. Alright? And now, second, rather than consulting a doctor to receive a proper diagnosis, many people use supplements and other substances to try to cope with the symptoms they're experiencing, result in improper treatment of symptoms and conditions, as well as potentially cause new conditions such as substance use disorders or addiction. In this case, I'm using a very negative argument that again needs to be developed in the third paragraph. So again, second paragraph, I'm going to talk about a positive argumentation. The third paragraph, I'm going to talk about negative arguments. Alright? Usually, we do not mix different arguments in the same paragraph. That's a bad practice. Another thing is, you cannot extend the same argument to another paragraph. So the positive arguments should always stay in the second paragraph. And the negative arguments should always stay in the third paragraph. We do not mix them up. Alright? Am I clear enough? Alright? So let's continue. Now it's time to start our second paragraph, which is to talk about the positive arguments. So a great way of starting is very simple, very objective, very concise. We say, to begin with, and then you give one or two sentences that give general information about this reason. In the middle of the second paragraph, you say, use a transitional sentence such as, my own experience is a compelling example of this. And why am I saying my own experience? Because Toefl Ibt requires students to use their own examples. They want first person. They take it personally. That sometimes in different languages is forbidden. For example, in my language, Portuguese language, it's completely forbidden to use first person in an essay. Okay? But in English, Toefl Ibt wants to make sure that that's your opinion, that you're not in two minds about things. You have a fixed and firm opinion. That's why I need to say, my own experience is a compelling example of this. And then you're going to use one or two sentences to give examples of your own life. Alright? Excellent. In the next step, I'm going to show you a real example of a second paragraph. So let's see it together. So first, most people buy ibuprofen most times that they have headaches. That's usually enough to solve their pain. This way, the population can avoid paying for doctor appointments or waiting a long time to have a full checkup, which could be really annoying when any pain is imposed. My own experience is a compelling example of this. The cost of medical treatment, including doctor visits and expensive medications, is really high, and I'd rather not having to pay for that, so I usually choose my own tablets. Okay? So all the time I'm using very strong arguments to say that I shouldn't visit a doctor, because this way I'm going to save money, I'm going to save time, I'm going to take care of myself. Alright? So that was a real example of my own essay. I've written that. Okay? Now, when you start your third paragraph, you gotta bear in mind that you need a conjunction to link the second and the third paragraph. And that conjunction depends on being both positives, both negatives, or having a positive and negative. In this case, because the second paragraph was completely positive, and now I'm going to talk about negative things, I need to use a contrastive discourse marker. And I chose the easiest one, which is however. I could have chosen nevertheless, nonetheless, all the same, in spite of that, although, though, there are many, but I chose however, which is the easiest, okay? So, however, often when people are self-medicating with substances from undiagnosed mental health conditions, it's difficult and sometimes impossible to determine which occurred first, the mental health condition or substance use disorder, alright? Then, after my explanation, I use another transitional sentence. It's exactly the same as the previous one. However, I'm going to use different words because I need to avoid word repetition. When you avoid word repetition, that's called ellipses in English, and I have recorded a whole video on ellipses topic. if you want, you can subscribe to my channel and watch ellipses. You're going to learn how to replace words, how to replace synonyms, and you're going to love it. I promise you, okay? It's a very concise video teaching you how to use your ellipses. So, my own personal history is proof of this. So instead of using the word compelling, this time I use the word proof. And then you're going to choose one or two sentences that talk about an example from your own life. So I have my essay here, and then I say, in conclusion, I believe that, and then you state your main point. Okay? So usually, when you conclude the last paragraph, paragraph number 4, you can pick a lot of different conjunctions. Okay? In conclusion, to sum up, generally speaking, broadly speaking, so there are many discourse markers to conclude your ideas. So in conclusion, I believe that, and your main point. And then you say, this is because reason 1 and reason 2. So you present both reasons why you chose that. Okay? And now, before we finish, I'm just giving you some examples of discourse markers to be used in your essay. So some useful discourse markers are, when you're adding pieces of information, you can use moreover, furthermore, on top of that, also. When you're contrasting, you can say however, nevertheless. And when you're concluding, in conclusion, broadly speaking, to sum up. Okay? So guys, thank you so much for having watched this class. I really hope you get a great mark at your Toefl Ibt test. You know, I'm here supporting you all the time. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate. Just leave your questions below, and I promise I will answer all of them at my earliest convenience, alright? So thank you very much, and I hope to see you next class. So cheers, thank you, bye bye!